Hey YouTube, it's Cecelialane here. Um, I know I usually don't make videos this close together, but I wanted to do a particular video based on some requests that I had had. Um, so this video is about the bad stuff that goes with having weight loss surgery. Generally on videos, we always want to be positive. Oh, yay, I'm so perfect. Look at me. Only see the good stuff. And we don't really talk about the bad stuff too much. But there are negatives to having the surgery. And they're very real, and some of them are very, very serious. Um, so anyway, so I did a list here and thought I'd talk with you all about it today. Uh, So one of the biggest issues, regardless of whether you have um, gastric sleeve or bypass or anything like that, whether you just cut some of the stomach, you cut the stomach and some of the intestines, all of the intestines, most of the intestines, a little bit, whatever. I can't say for the band because you still have your stomach underneath that little stomach, so I don't think you have this issue, but for any of the others, you will have vitamin deficiency. And what that really means is that you are going to have to take a very active and consistent role in managing your vitamin levels. You have to take your vitamins every day. Have to. You have to take a multivitamin, whether it's a children's chewable Flintstone with iron, that's what I take, or it's obviously the best ones are like if you buy the bariatric type, the vitamins specially made for people who have had surgery, which I'm thinking about changing over to those. They used to make me sick in the beginning because my stomach was so new and fragile, but I think I'm ready now to get on those. But you need to take something, and you need to probably take a vitamin D supplement and some B12. Um, I was tested, my vitamin levels were tested, and it showed that I was seriously deficient in vitamin D, and so I added that in. So, like I said, I take a Flintstones with iron and a vitamin D each day. I started splitting up my Flintstone into two doses, or two separate times. I used to take two every night, right before going to bed, and now I take one in the morning, one in the evening, and I take my vitamin D in the evening. The reason why is because part of the reason that you have the vitamin deficiency is not so much that you can't eat that much anymore, because now I feel like I eat the amount that we're supposed to eat. I mean, obviously I'm maintaining my weight, so I'm eating maintenance level food. And yet, as soon as you start cutting off some of the stomach, which is not just a repository for food, it also is where the food, a lot of the food nutrients is absorbed. So it's absorbed in there, it's absorbed through your intestines, but a big part of the nutrients that we get occurs while the food is sitting in our stomach being digested. So if you cut away a whole bunch of the stomach, the food goes through the stomach faster, all of those kind of things, then you're not going to absorb the nutrients that you would that if you were somebody else. So if you were somebody else with a normal stomach and normal intestines eating 1,200 calories a day versus me eating 1,200 calories a day, you'd probably be fine. But for me, because I'm missing a whole bunch of my absorption area and part of, my tool for absorbing nutrients, and then the food's going very fast through my stomach, I do not get all the nutrients that I should out of food, even though I eat enough of it. And so that was part of the reason why I started spreading out my vitamins, to give myself a better chance of absorbing. So take, half of the dose in the morning and half in the evening, on the chance that, more will get in there. And let me tell you, when you start feeling the effects of deficiency, iron deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, the B12 deficiency, vitamin C, any of those, it is really uncomfortable for me. And and I don't know if this is just psychosomatic, and you know what, it really doesn't even matter, because as long as I'm feeling that way, then I'm miserable. But it seems like it takes maybe a week or two of not taking my vitamins before my body starts to feel like it's breaking down, like it's feeling the effects of the lack of nutrients. So let me tell you some of the issues that I have because of things like protein deficiency, dehydration, vitamin deficiency, malabsorption issues. I get a lot of muscle pains and cramping in my legs, well, my calves in particular. I can get it in other parts of my body too, but generally it's my legs, my calves, my feet, mostly my calves and my feet. Especially if I forget to take my vitamin D. Like, definitely I'm going to be waking up with major Charlie horses, or if I drink a lot, which drinking is also a side effect of the surgery, that you tend to switch your vice. So you don't smoke anymore, you don't eat anymore. Well, what do? You drink and you shop. So I definitely consume more alcohol than I used to, and I can become very dehydrated very, very quickly from alcohol, which will lead to severe leg cramps for me. And so muscle cramping, I can have mood swings and irritation. They say that also when you lose a lot of weight really quickly like that, it also depletes your estrogen. So that can affect your mood and everything. I get some unexpected bruising, and these type of things generally happen when I haven't been taking my vitamins and drinking my water and sticking with my protein, making that a focus like I'm supposed to. So this is what happens when I'm not doing those things. And even when I am, sometimes here and there, I can have some problems. But so muscle pains and cramping, very, very bad. Dehydration, I can become dehydrated very, very easily because I can't drink while I eat. I know people who can't drink out of straws. It puts air in their stomach and causes horrible issues that cause them in the hospital, to be put into the hospital. I have the odd body pains sometimes, unexpected bruising. And I have a functional heart murmur that can start acting up sometimes. So that's all to say, you know, the things that you really have to, well, here's the thing, you don't get a free ride. So you don't get to do this change on your body, this very, very, very big change, and think that that's it and you'll be able to go and eat whatever you want, or life will be easy, or that it won't be difficult to manage all these things. But it's going to be a whole lot of work, and it is a lot of work. I have to take really, really, really good care of myself. I have to be very good to myself so that I can physically feel good. And that means I have to take my vitamins. I have to drink, and people have said this a million times, zero. Powerade zero. Okay, I don't drink regular sports drinks that have calories and all the other stuff in it. I drink the zero that has 0 calories, but it also has 25% vitamin B3, 25% B12, 25% B6, and it has some magnesium and some potassium and sodium. And that's for one bottle, one 20-ounce bottle. So I try to drink at least 2 or 3 of those a day. I also try to drink at least 2 or 3 bottles of water a day. And that is really hard. It's really hard to get in a lot of liquids, because during the work week especially, because you're working, you don't generally think about drinking except when you're eating. And when you're a weight loss patient, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be able to eat while you drink. And so, I don't even order anything to drink anymore. Like, I'll get water, but I never drink it. But I will not pay for anything to drink anymore because I'll just waste it, because I cannot drink while I eat. So you have to drink your water. You have to take your vitamins. You have to make sure that you are supplementing your protein and getting plenty of protein, and that you're doing some kind of activity or whatever, like to keep your body nimble and sorry, my daughter's playing the Wii. And to keep your body and mind, nimble and whatnot. You have to do something, have some kind of outlet. So, it's really serious, and especially serious because as soon as you start slacking, you will start feeling the effects. I do a lot of traveling for my work, and I find traveling to be extremely taxing on my body. I don't have access to foods, snacks all day, and I've been working on getting better about, like packing myself certain things, because when I'm at a conference or a training or something, there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the snacks are like this junk food that's not good for me, that's not going to do anything for me, but otherwise the meals are very structured, and I have a hard time sitting down and like consuming any great amount of food at one time. I need to, eat small meals throughout the day, and so conferences and things like that, they don't really lend themselves to that. So oftentimes when I go away to conferences, I can either gain a whole bunch of weight because I'm eating crappy food and drinking too much alcohol, or I can end up losing a whole bunch of weight because I go ahead and I pass on the crappy food, the snacks and all that kind of stuff, and I can't eat enough for lunch. By the time lunch is over, you know what I mean? Like, I can't go back and get more, so it's done, and so I end up hardly getting anything in at all. So that can be very difficult in a very structured environment like that. I still have problems occasionally with food sticking, and when it sticks, because it was so easy, and I got so good at being able to vomit and everything. Generally, I just want to go ahead and go throw it up. And I used to be the type of person that I couldn't throw up, like, for the life of me. I would be miserable for hours before I would ever throw up. And now I can feel the slightest whatever, and then I can go in the bathroom, and I don't even have to force it. I can just lean over and it'll start, and I can move my muscles and it'll start coming out. And a lot of times I can throw up, just from my throat. Like, the food hasn't gotten to my stomach yet, because it's just stuck in my throat and my esophagus. So those are some of the bad things, as far as like physical. I can't stress enough, like, the muscle pains and cramping. Man, I freaking hate that. And so I work really hard to try and do everything I can to avoid them. But the muscle aches and pains, like, and supposedly that's really common. Of course, hair loss, that's a real bitch. For me, it hasn't been bad because I had so much hair, but if I didn't have a lot of hair, I'd be really pissed off. I would. Mood swings and irritation. So, I mentioned about, like, the estrogen depletion, plus, you have the vitamin stuff, and I don't know. Sometimes I think that, like, I'm crabbier. I'm, like, short-tempered and irritated, and I don't know. I had problems with depressive disorder, mild depression before, I had the surgery, and maybe, I'm just going through another period of it, which could be linked to something on my list, which, I think everybody going into this naturally feels like, and I've said it in my videos, like, this is just the last thing and then everything will be great. And it doesn't make everything better. I mean, you get thin and you like how you look in the mirror, and you're really pleased with how you look. You're not ignoring the mirror every time you walk by it, or whenever you have to get dressed and look in the mirror and stuff. You're not just focusing on your face because you don't want to see the rest of yourself and how, how much you've let yourself go and be all sad and disappointed again in yourself. So it's not that. I mean, every time I catch a glimpse of myself in something, I'm like, ooh, oh my gosh, that's me. But it has not made everything better. And with that kind of expectation going in, and even, I think it's, like I said, I think it's very natural. And I went through counseling and stuff as I was going through this process, and still I had this, looking back now, I realize I did have this expectation, like everything would be better, my life would be great. And you know what? Life is still boring and irritating and frustrating sometimes. I'm still the same boring, irritating, frustrating person I was before. I'm not perfect. I didn't become super. I still have the same bad traits that I had before, and a couple of new ones because of the surgery. So that's it's definitely a letdown in that respect. It's like I don't know, I guess it's like I thought like my life would be so exciting now, or something, but it's not. And I'm not 15 or 25 or even 30 or 35 anymore. I mean, so all that like super excitement stuff, and where everything is about how I look and whatnot, and I have all these great opportunities to mingle, in these certain like, when you're young and dating, or just newly, together, and you're doing a lot of activities and events and things like that, and you don't have kids, and the excitement isn't ooh wee night tonight, family night. And that's the exciting thing for the week. That's what you're looking forward to at the end of your week. So there's not those like all this external stuff to help build me up or anything. Like, it's just me and my little boring old life, and my job, and my husband, and my kids, and and all of my bullshit and my bull crap and my baggage and my freaking laundry that I gotta do every week, and the house that has to be cleaned, and bills that have to be paid, and being frugal with money, and and saving up for vacations, and it's all still there. Didn't go anywhere. My life didn't get super. I didn't become a superstar. I think maybe a part of me kind of was hoping that I would, but that didn't happen at all. So well, I'm on 18 minutes, so I've really rambled on. The last thing I want to say is stomach stretching. Yes, my stomach is totally stretched out. I can eat a whole lean cuisine in one sitting, maybe a little bit under. A 6-inch sub from Subway, that's pushing it, but maybe more like a 5-inch sub would be better. A 5-inch sub, a lean cuisine, 2 packets of oatmeal, half a bagel, like a diet or a kid's size bowl of something, something like that, a entire kid's meal, say, at a restaurant. I can definitely eat that in one sitting, and I can snack my ass off. If it's the right kind of food, I can snack my ass off. So I don't think my stomach is really going to stretch anymore. I'm definitely not allowing myself to eat anymore. The great thing is now, it's a choice for me. What I eat is a choice, and I can choose not to eat another cookie. I can choose to have, the vegetables instead of, I don't know, the mashed potatoes. You know what I mean? Like, I can choose those things now. It's not like, oh no, but I'm dying to taste those mashed potatoes, and I must have them. Or if I must have something, I can have, like 1 or 2 small bites of it, and I'm done. So, but my stomach is definitely stretched, and And I figure I'm hoping that I'm at the end point with that. And like I said, I'm not eating anymore, so I don't foresee it getting any more stretched. And I'm almost 2 years out now too. So, anyway, so I went on for a long time. The good, the bad, the ugly of weight loss surgery. So do your research, ask around, you know, watch the YouTube videos, read up on it, talk to your doctor. Um, you know, I can't tell you how serious the vitamin, the dehydration, all of that, and how that is going to be something you're going to have to work on for the rest of your life. It's not going to go away. Um, and so you're going to have to stay on top of it. And who knows what else? Who knows what I've done to myself, and you know how much harder it's going to become when I turn 80 and I don't want to eat. You know what I mean? Or I get really picky, or I can't eat certain things, or so, you know, I may have made a really hard road for myself later on in life, you know, just so now I can be comfortable and happy and stuff. So, you know, I don't know what's ahead for me. I don't know what I've done in terms of long-term effects. And I think that that's something serious and to think about. So definitely consider all of those things before, you know, rushing in. I know that I rushed in. I wanted it. My mind was made up, and I was willing to make any sacrifice, even taking the chance, obviously, of going under. And, you know, I'm having the surgery, going under, and I may not come back. Like, I may die. Because everybody knows every time you have surgery, you are taking that risk. You're rolling the dice, and you just don't know. So, but at the time, you know, I wanted it that much. And I think that I would do it again, but it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So take it seriously. All right, YouTube, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.